Hey, good morning, guys. How y'all doing today? Welcome to Voices from the Dirt Road. Shawn here. Hey, I have my favorite crumpet says ranch hard, be happy. And here on my farm, that's what we try to do. And as y'all guys know, what we do here on Voices from the Dirt Road, we try to bring you the facts, what's actually going on in the world of agriculture. And in addition to that, as y'all guys know, it's a whole lot of stuff going on. So let me just stop before I get to rattling off and say thank you. We just jumped on, and there's already about 20, 30 people watching us live. I know the number's going to grow, but let me also kind of give you a little bit of an idea what this show is going to be about today. One, the podcast is up and running, so please go to your podcast and look at us there and all those kind of things. But in addition to that, I'm real excited today because today I get a chance to talk to a guest that I've been knowing for a long time. Him and I were in the military together. We served overseas together, and now both of us are cattle producers. So look forward to having that conversation with Jerome. But before we get into all of that, let me kind of give you kind of update what's going on here at the farm. Hey team, hey, isn't that a pretty cool picture? Yesterday had a farmer over here. We were talking about genetics on cattle. We were also talking about you want your cows not only to have the best genetics, but at the same time to be gentle. I want to make sure to clear to everybody over here on my farm, '07 Farms. Our cows are not pets at all. However, we treat them right. They trust me, and I can basically just walk out there in the field and have a conversation. This cow here is a heifer, but she's bred, and she should be having a calf here in January. So, like many of y'all guys farm, we are actually in the calving season. We already got 2 calves on the ground, and I'm fully expecting another calf in between somewhere this weekend or sometime next week. And to be truthful, Linda, it's still dark outside. So we know when this show is over, I might actually have a calf on the ground. And so we'll take a picture and bring it to you next week. But that's just an example of if you're doing it right, you should be able to handle your cows. Now I understand some of y'all big farms that got 200 and 300 head of cattle, you can't do that. But most farms are somewhere between 20 and 30 head of cattle at the most. And so, that's me. I'm not the biggest guy. I don't want to be the biggest guy, but I do want to be able to produce a very good product that the American people can consume and I can get a fair price for. So let me jump right on into, let's talk about the stool. Put the stool up, please. Hey guys, every week I try to take some time and bring you back to the essence of this show. And the essence of this show, we're talking about 3 different things in the world of agriculture. One is livestock. As y'all guys know, I'm on the livestock side of the house, cattle producer, but that also includes the poultry world. That includes the guys that are dealing with the pigs, goats, you name it, fish, whatever. If you want me to talk about it, please just reach out to my team and we will bring somebody on the show to have that conversation. In addition to that, we also talk about row crops. As y'all guys know, right now, row crops are dominating the news. And at the same time, we got to help our row crop farmers because right now, I'm concerned that we're going to have a lot of people file bankruptcy based on us not actually having anywhere truly to sell our soybeans and other crops. But we'll get more into that a little bit later on into the show. And then the other piece is forestry. I think if you look back in our episodes we had, I don't remember the number of the episode, but we actually had a gentleman on that talked to us about forestry because right now in the great state of Georgia, and perhaps even across the nation, we're actually having paper mills that are shutting down. People are losing their jobs. And many of those places where they're shutting down, those are very, very small towns. Believe me, I know they are very small towns. And the town depends on the farmers and they depend on the forestry industry. And right now, both of those industries are actually in the hurt locker. So we'll have more discussion on that. And then the other piece, what we're seeing right now is the Department of Agriculture, Secretary Rollins, seems like every week She's talking about rolling some kind of new program out. We're going to get in the weeds today and talk about some of those new programs. I think just this week alone, we had 2 different new programs rolled out. And we just want to make sure that the farmers are tracking it, because some of these things that she's talking about has a very tight window of when you need to actually go into the USDS. Go into your local offices and actually get the paperwork done. So, and then the last thing that I would say, if you're looking at our stool there, it says pass the farm bill. I keep preaching that because the farm bill is based off 2018 prices. It's designed that helps our farmers in the crisis, but it also has a significant amount of money that's in the farm bill is for the SNAP program. As y'all guys know, we just got over, the government just opened back up, and our SNAP less fortunate people was in the hurt locker. So we got to get that farm bill passed so there's up to this to the expenses of 2025, 2026. So we just got some work to do. With that being said, let's move on down and start talking a little bit about some of the things that actually have occurred this week alone. I think it was yesterday or the day before, Secretary of Agriculture came out and she said that, hey, we're going to roll out let me get it right, Farmers Bridge Assistance Program. At the end of the day, they announced that it was supposed to be $12 billion. And then, the president said $12 billion. And then Secretary Rollins said, no, sir, it's going to be $11 billion. And we're going to keep $1 billion back for some specialty crops. I think some more details going to come out on that. But what I want to just bring out to you, I'm going to play a couple of videos. Let the secretary and others tell the story, and then I'll come back on the backside. Can you play the next video, please?
And what that means is a continued signal that this country and our farmers produce the best, highest quality soybeans, sorghum, et cetera, in the world. And what you've been able to do is open those markets up and, again, move toward an era where our farmers are not so reliant on government checks, but they have the markets to sell their product. Having said that, we do have a bridge payment we'll be announcing with you next week, as we're still trying to recover from the Biden years. That's right.
To help the farmers.
That's right.
Help the farmers. They did not help the farmers.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Scott?
So as you can see there, that was last week inside of the cabinet meeting with President Trump. That's where Secretary Rollins was making an announcement, and she said next week. I got to give her credit. Next week finally came, because she's been saying next week for a long time, but next week finally came, and they actually rolled something out. Can y'all guys play the next video? Let's see what the details are.
Good evening to you. We begin tonight with new reaction from Arkansas farmers to President Trump's $12 billion aid package for the nation's struggling agriculture sector.
The move promises some much-needed relief for many row crop farmers, but is it too little too late? Channel 7's Andrew Mobley has the story tonight. Andrew.
If anything is clear, it's that the federal aid isn't a full-blown rescue, rather a Band-Aid. The proposed aid cap of $150,000 per farm simply isn't enough to make most Arkansas farmers whole. The Arkansas Farm Bureau says the aid would provide roughly $50 an acre, but Arkansas soybean, rice, corn, and cotton farmers lost on average $243 per acre this year.
We are going to have more. We greatly appreciate what the administration has done and getting this help to producers, but it's not close for us in the South.
The Farm Bureau and Arkansas's congressional delegation have fought since summer to secure federal aid for farmers amid a catastrophic ag economy that has seen increasing family farm bankruptcies and even closures. The federal government was preparing to address the crisis, but the shutdown delayed the bailout. So farmers won't see those federal dollars until the end of February. And because all through February is when most farmers re-up their loans, that could mean the difference between getting new financing or not.
When we get into February, it could be too late for some of the farmers that are more of a financial burden.
But farmers can help themselves by communicating with their local farm service agency to determine how much aid they can receive.
What farmers need to do is they're going to need to go into their FSA office before December 19th and make sure that their reported acreage is correct, or report their acreage before that date, because after that date at 5 p.m. they're going to cut that off and start preparing for or getting the data collected so that they can come up with the rates that the farmers will receive for their individual crops.
If we know the numbers that are coming, the lenders at least have the ability to put those numbers on the repayment worksheet to allow them to finance those producers, knowing that there's some more money coming.
But what's the long-term solution to the farm crisis? Sky-high input costs need to be addressed, as well as foreign trading partners that are playing dirty and costing Arkansas markets for its crops.
Long-term solution is hold our trading partners accountable to get some of our markets back.
Well, as y'all guys can see there, we got a couple things going on. One, the markets are not where they need to be. We're not 100% sure if China's going to continue to keep buying soybeans. We're being told that they are, but they're not buying them at the rate that they're agreed upon. So a lot of work needs to be done there. But in addition to that, the short fight for us right now as farmers is making sure that you get into the office, get your paperwork done, get everything checked, because I want you to make sure that you take the time and look at the calendar. December 19th, which is next Friday, is the last day for you to go in and get your paperwork together. So I want to say it, and I've said many, many times during this show, today, this Friday, call the office, go up to your local FSA office or NRCS office, and actually go in there and sit down and have the conversation. Say, hey, is my paperwork together? Do you need any more documentation from me? Because what I would tell you that concerns me is, just like the government shut down before, I'm concerned that the government's going to shut down again on January 30th in behind healthcare, and the farmers still going to be caught out there. So you need to make sure that you got everything done. Don't wait till the last minute and walk in there on Friday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon next Friday, when everything has to be in by 5 o'clock. But we'll talk more about that here in the future. And now I just want to play one more video, because this video is the video that I thought was the best one that I saw all week. This gentleman's going to tell you 4 things that you need to do. I want you to write these things down, or when the show is over today, skip everything that I said and just go right to this. And if you do these things, I think you're going to be okay. Because I would tell you, as soon as I finish this show today and our office open up, I'm calling up there and talking to the people for myself, because it's a new program that's rolling out that pertains to my farm. So with that, please play that video of the 4 things that our farmers need to do.
Hey everybody, the USDA announced the Farmers Bridge Assistance Program this week. There are 4 critical things you need to know. Number 1, get to the FSA office before December 19th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time to verify and ensure that your acreage that you certified in 2025 for row crops was accurate. Number 2, the payments will be distributed on February the 28th of 2026. Number 3, the payment limitations per entity is $155,000. Number 4, your lender will likely want to use these to pay off any remaining debt you have from 2025 crop. So be prepared to use that when you go talk to your lender for your 2026 operating loan. All right, remember, hope is not a farm financial management strategy. Good luck.
Yeah, he was right. Hope is not how you do business. You gotta get out there, go and talk to the people, sit down, let's get everything figured out. And like I said, please don't wait to the last minute. I know people getting the crops in. I know a lot of things are going on, but today, this Friday, call, get an appointment, go up. And the reason why I say call and get an appointment, because I think a lot of farmers are going to be going in there. And as y'all guys know, it's only like 3 or 4 people that works in those offices. So they can't handle everybody at the same time. So you'll probably end up getting an appointment and just go up and get your paperwork turned in, and we'll kind of go from there. Hey, one of the things I always want to talk about, I want to say thank you. We roughly got about 300-400 people watching us right now. So I want to say thank you to those guys getting out of bed early. In addition to that, I also want to say, hey, please, when we finish this particular show, this is the one show that I ask you to share with everybody, because so much great information is going to be built into this one. We just want to make sure that everybody gets it, because I don't want to see people get the next Friday on any point of view of when it comes to the level of farming that you're doing, and you miss out on opportunities. One other area I just want to touch on real quick is the SNAP program. We don't have a video for the SNAP program. At least I don't think so. Maybe my staff do or not. But I just want to let you know it has been some changes in the SNAP program across the board. And those changes are on the, I didn't know you could buy junk food in the first place, but apparently it's been some restrictions that have been put on when it comes to junk food. Staff, do we have a video or not? If we don't worry about it. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that perhaps next week or the week after, we'll get more information on these changes. I know the last time we talked about it in a couple of episodes back, Secretary Rollins had said that everybody had to requalify to make sure we get corruption out of the system. What concerns me with that is it enough people that work in the SNAP program offices that can actually take care of the millions and millions and millions and millions of people that are on SNAP. So I know here right in my area of Georgia is 141,000 people that are dependent on SNAP. So I don't know if we can get all those people certified again. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next couple of weeks. Let's move on to soybeans. As y'all guys know, soybeans row crop has been in the news and it will not go away. Things are not going well with China. We don't have markets, and the reason why we actually getting this buyout or bailout or subsidy check, whatever you want to call the money that the farmer's supposed to be getting, is 100% because of our soybean farmers, our corn, and cotton, and on, because we don't actually have good markets anymore. We're not going to get into the reason why, but at the end of the day, we're in the hurt lock and we got to get this thing figured out. So can you go on to play the first video when we're talking about soybeans, please?
Happening right now at the White House, President Trump is hosting a roundtable discussion with farmers. He announced a new $12 billion aid package to help farmers who are struggling because of his trade war with China. Joining us, Arkansas soybean farmer Scott Brown. Scott, really good to have you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Katie.
$12 billion. How's that sound to you?
Well, I appreciate the help, but it's a far cry from what we need. Just the loss in corn this year with a record crop was over 16 billion. The loss in soybeans at production is around 11 billion. That doesn't count cotton and rice, which are even bigger losses than that.
So this $12 billion is not going to make up for this 1 year. I mean, say China goes back to buying soybeans and other crops as they were buying before this trade war. Is $12 billion not enough to bridge that gap?
Probably not. You've got a lot of boys that's got $400,000 to $700,000 worth of rollover debt that's eat their equity up in the last 2.5 years. They don't have anywhere to go. They don't have anything to do. And you've got guys that are not going to take that ground. So if you don't make everybody whole and let everybody stand on their own field of government aid, which is what we all want. The taxpayer wants it. We want it. Everybody wants it. You need to square everybody up. Senator Moran even said it was a $40 billion problem. So, I mean, his own senator says $40 billion, and what's he come up with? $12 billion.
Well, as y'all guys can see there, like the farmers are saying, everybody's happy that something's coming, but the 12 billion or really the 11 billion will not make everybody whole. And that's why I'm saying to you, as our fellow farmers, fellow ranchers across the board, you need to get into the FSA office, have that conversation, because what concerns me is every farmer is not going to be able to be whole. And you and your lender need to know that. And I think if you receive this money, I believe most of this money will probably go to pay your past bills. We're going to talk a little bit about that, if not in this show, somewhere in the future, because I every time we get these types stimulus checks or buyouts, whatever you want to call them, I'm always concerned: are we helping the farmers or are we helping the fertilizer companies and everything else, the inputs, because the inputs are the things that are extremely high. And are those guys watching that money and then they up their prices again because they know money is being infused into the farming community? But you know, I think it was last week or the week before, Secretary of Treasury Bassett, I think he said he was a sort of soybean farmer. I doubt that. I don't think he ever even been in a soybean field. But look, you know, at least he's trying to get us some money. So let's see. Can you play the next video for me, please?
As President Trump shifts his focus to affordability, he has announced a lifeline for American farmers who've been hurt directly by his trade policies. The president now planning to use revenue from tariffs to pay for a $12 billion bailout for farmers. The White House says it will provide much needed relief for farmers as they get this year's harvest to market and look ahead to next year. Joining me for more on this is Caleb Ragland, American Soybean Association president and Kentucky farmer. Caleb, great to have you with us. Thanks for joining us.
Good to be here.
The president said the key, we know that a key reason why so many soybean farmers like yourself are hurting is because the #1 buyer of American soybeans, China, stopped buying those soybeans during this trade war with the U.S. What's your reaction to this bailout? Is it a Band-Aid for a problem that really shouldn't exist in the first place?
Well, we certainly have a problem. We're appreciative of this economic bridge that has been announced, but the problem is much bigger than the hole that this will cover. It's kind of is a Band-Aid on a wound, as you mentioned. This will probably cover about a quarter of the $109 loss that soybean farmers are going to average this year on their crop. And we certainly are struggling from the loss of the China market there for several months. They do consume 61% of all soy consumption worldwide and have been about 25% of the market for American soybeans in recent years. Soybeans are our #1 export. They're a major part of the economy in rural America. But what we need now is market-based solutions to give us opportunity to increase demand, both domestically and abroad. We have great opportunities now with biofuels that the administration could help with here in the short term that would give us a boost, renewing the renewable volume obligations. All they lack is final approval from the administration and final approval of the 45Z tax credit. That would help us immediately with biofuels here at home. As farmers, we want a level playing field and the opportunity to make a living from the market and not need there to be government aid to fulfill shortfalls. But I will be clear, the shortfall right now is real and it's large, and farm families are hurting, and we're going to lose many farms if we don't find a way to improve the economic viability of our industry.
As you say, the shortfall is very real. We know that China did agree to start rebuying soybeans as part of that framework trade deal. Talk to us about how much they've purchased so far. Is it close to at all what they committed to buy? It looks, according to USDA data, like they're still falling well short of the pledge that they made as part of that deal with the president.
Well, from the numbers that I'm aware of, we're under 3 million metric tons out of the 12 that were promised by the end of December. So we've got a long ways to go in a short time to get there. And that's commitments. It's not deliveries yet as well. So when we can really celebrate is when we get soybeans delivered in China and get paid for them. But we need to make sure that they follow through on the agreements and do it in a timely manner. We don't need to kick the can down the road because our farmers need opportunities in the market and they need cash flow because the cost of production that we're dealing with are higher than ever. And with the current prices, we're just not in a economically sustainable situation. And we need market-based solutions. As I said earlier, we need the market to have strong demand, both domestically and abroad. And that's what we're working for every day. But we need a level playing field to accomplish that. And American farmers are the best in the world. We're going to be doing a great job producing, but we need to make sure that we don't have obstacles that make us uncompetitive in the world market for trade, and make sure that we have reasonable regulations and rules so that we can be prosperous here at home as well.
Caleb Ragland, I really appreciate your time and giving us your perspective on all this. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Take care.
Yeah, he said it perfectly. You know, right now, the exact numbers he said, 61% of the world market when it comes to soybean is actually going to China. 25% of the United States soybean sales go to China. And then on top of that, right now, China is what they agreed to. They're not actually buying. And I thought something he said that was very significant. Just because you commit doesn't mean that you get a paycheck. It's only until the soybeans are delivered and they're on the ground is when that money flows back. And the question is, when are these things going to happen? And I'm truly concerned that if our farmers are going to be in the hurt locker, and that's why the government is trying to give a bridging strategy right now that they just pushed out. Can you go on and play the next video, and we'll continue this conversation on the backside of it.
Welcome news. This was a priority of farmers and ranchers, and it's been a priority of Farm Bureau the last few months to work with the administration to see if we can get this done. So we're really thankful to them for the program they've rolled out here.
Well, let me ask you this. Of course, the big question, is this enough to help offset the financial strains that farmers have been facing this year?
Well, as I said, it's welcome news, but we've got some work yet to do. There's estimates across our 9 major row crops of damage north of 30 billion, and so this 12 billion, this is a great news. But as mentioned from some of our congressional leaders, we saw Chairman Bozeman, Chairman Thompson mention there's more work to be done. That was mentioned in some of the announcements as well. So we'll work on this program. We'll wait for the details of this. We're very thankful for it, but there's a lot of work yet to do because it's a serious situation out in farm country.
Yeah, I think I wanted to make sure that I got Farm Bureau in there. You know, Farm Bureau is one of the organizations out front that's fighting for our farmers, and I appreciate that. I'm a member of Farm Bureau, but I think he said it best, is that he said the 12 billion, but I want to make sure everybody understand it's actually 11 billion because 1 billion is actually held back. We still don't really know what that 1 billion is for, but he made it very clear that, and I want to look down here on my piece of paper, that the losses are well past $30 billion. So that's why I'm keep saying to my fellow farmers and brothers and sisters, get up there to that FSA office today. So get your paperwork in, because it is not enough money coming out at this point to make everybody whole. And I don't want you to miss out and not be one of the ones that actually get some money because you just didn't get your paperwork turned in. So if you take nothing else from this show, let's put a little bit of urgency into it and get it done between today and next Friday. And I want to play this next video, but before we play this next video, because I'm here in Georgia, I want to make sure you heard me. We talked about what's happening in Arkansas. We talked about what's happening all over the world, but I wanted to bring it right back here to Georgia because this is where the show is being produced. This is where I live. And I'm not sure if y'all guys know my background. I was raised on a dirt road. So that's why we actually call the show Voices from the Dirt Road. So I wanted to make sure that in this episode, we come back and talk about what is actually happening here in Georgia. So team, can you play that video where it talks about Georgia and our farmers?
And a 1980s type farm crisis if this trend continues.
This is being framed as a lifeline for farm families. Farmers I spoke with wouldn't go on camera. They say they're still unsure how to feel as uncertainty still hangs over the industry. From corn in South Georgia to cotton across the plains, agriculture fuels 1 in 7 Georgia jobs. Now billions in federal dollars are headed to farmers. Money state leaders say is overdue.
Where a lot of our farm families have run out of equity. They've run out of ways to stretch that dollar thin.
Georgia's Ag Commissioner Tyler Harper stresses urgency. Input costs keep climbing. Row crop season is ending and farmers are already making decisions for next year. The American Bankers Association reports half of U.S. farms will profit this year, even fewer next year. The farm aid package includes one-time bridge payments to offset what the administration calls trade disruptions and production costs.
It's called a bridge to get over those troubled waters that our American ag economy is in right now to help us to sustain American agriculture and our nation.
Up to $11 billion will go to row crop producers, peanuts, cotton, corn, and soybeans. Another $1 billion for specialty crops like fruit, vegetables, and pecans. But critics say the bailout doesn't fix deeper issues. Shrinking markets caused by tariffs, bailouts benefiting large producers over small or mid-sized farms. The president of the American Soybean Association calls the aid a Band-Aid on an opened wound.
I've been farming 21 years now full time, and this is by far the most serious economic situation that I've experienced and my family's experienced, and I think that's the same for many farmers across this country.
Payments could start by late February. For now, the state says make sure to update your 2025 acreage report to qualify. In Atlanta, I'm Abby Kasouras.
You know, and thank you for that, team. I wanted to make sure as I closed out this part of the show that I brought it back home here to Georgia. We're talking to all the farmers across the United States, but you know, when they start talking about peanuts, soybeans, and soybeans and cotton, those are row crops that dominate Georgia. If you noticed in there, our Secretary of Agriculture was on there, Tyler. And what I would say is this: everybody agrees that this is just a Band-Aid. This is not a real solution, and we got a lot more work to do. But I say to you again, my fellow farmers and brothers and sisters out there, hey, get in there to that FSA office, get your paperwork filled out, so that come February, you'll be in line to get some payments and be able to farm next year. That's what it's all about. We're just trying to get you to be able to farm next year, and kind of go from there. So now we're going to move into the area that I make a living in, and that's cattle production. The cattle production side of the house, or livestock side of the house, actually got a new program also. Next week, we're going to put a lot more emphasis onto it, but it's regenerative ag. That is where you focus on the soil and all of those kind of things, rotating your cows and whatever. But that program also rolled out, I think it was just yesterday or the day before, but we still got to get some more details on it. I will tell you today, like I said, I'm not in the row crop side of it, but I will be going up to my local NRCS office today and just having that conversation. Says, hey, do I need to do anything else for my farm? So really this week, those offices are going to be very, very busy, because now 2 programs have been rolled out by the USDA, and we kind of go from there. So can you play the video that talks about that, please?
Be clear, to rebuild the lowest beef herd in 75 years is right now will take a little bit of time. You think about the last administration, they had a war on American agriculture. They thought that cows created climate change. They didn't want big herds, and the cost of inputs were skyrocketing. And as a result, a lot of our cattle ranchers reduced the size of their herd at the same time that you have an unprecedented focus on protein, saturated fats, making America healthy again. So we're sort of in this perfect.
Okay, as y'all guys can see, USDA is trying to deal with a lot of different things. The reason why I can't talk too much about regenerative ag, it was just announced, I think, yesterday. There's no real details out there on it. Like I said, I'm going to go to the USDA. I'm gonna go up to the office today and try to get some more details, and I'll try to bring that back to you next week. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we have a guest. Is everything good to go with our guest? Can you hear me, Jerome? Can you hear me? All right. It doesn't look like Jerome can hear me. Team, try to help him get his stuff on there. But let me just tell you a little bit about Jerome. Jerome is just not Jerome. His first name is Jerome. Jerome and I were in the military together. We spent many years together in different units and all this thing, but we've been knowing each other for many, many years. But way back there in 2015, 2016, we had the opportunity to deploy together to Liberia to help support the armed forces of Liberia. It was an awesome deployment. It was during the time on the backside of Ebola crisis that was going on. Him and I and our team, because everything that I did in the military was done as a team. I never like to take credit to say, okay, Shawn, you did all these great things. What I did as a senior leader was built incredible teams. And those teams, we all worked together to go do whatever the American people wanted us to do. And Jerome was my command sergeant major. If you don't understand that, that's the highest ranking out there on the NCO side of the house. And Jerome was the guy that was with me to help me lead this team through that experience. So, Jerome, do we have you now?
You got me, sir. How are you this morning?
Man, look. I just want to let the audience know that, yeah, this is our 12th, 13th show. I don't remember anymore, but this particular show here is probably the one that means the most to me, because this time I'm actually talking to my battle buddy. I'm talking to somebody that spent their time taking care of senior officers like me, and at the same time giving us hard, crucial, unfiltered advice. And that's what you did for me when we was over there in Liberia. But we're not talking about our deployment in Liberia. We're talking about, hey, you're a cattle producer now, right? Can you tell us about that?
Yes, sir. Hey, I've been operating now for about 5 years after I got out of the military, working about a 50 herd mama cow herd of registered Angus. So I'm running a cow calf production, also a stocker production, and pretty much now what I'm doing is working on pedigree, trying to raise the best beef that I can raise for the American people.
Outstanding. And Sergeant Major, how many years did you do in the military?
34 years. 34 years. And last year I spent with you, which was an eye-opening experience, like you probably talked about, us sitting around the table over in Liberia, both coming from the dirt road, growing up on farms, and talking about what we want to do when we got out. And one of the things that we both said we wanted to do was farm. I know you had a farm down in Georgia and mine was in Mississippi, but we're neighbors, and we started putting together our operation plans on what we wanted our farms to look like. And now I can see that coming to fruition.
You know, Sergeant Major, every time I think about the deployment to Liberia, you know, it's awesome people that we work with over there. But when I think about it, I think about after we finished doing all that military stuff, we went back in my apartment or your apartment and rolled our sleeves up and start saying, well, how do you actually start a cow-calf operation or a cattle farm? Where are we going to get the money from? I remember us Googling NRCS or USDA office and trying to see, well, is it any programs for veterans and all those kind of things? And now, years later, now we're both retired, but we both live in our dream. And I tell you, I get a chance to, because I talk to you all the time. You're doing an awesome job down there with your farm. And you say you're running about 50 head of cattle, like Angus right now.
Correct.
And now, can you, are other farmers or other veterans coming to you asking you questions? Because that's kind of what we're talking about today.
I network with a few veterans as I go around, go to a few different trade shows and different things, talking to veterans. In my area, I don't have particularly too many veteran farmers, but I'm trying to pave the way for the veterans that I do know to get into farming, because it's a great avenue for relief, and it gives, like I said, gives us a purpose to go. The key thing I'd say about farming is that you and I are both had a foot up because we had property. So the veterans that are coming out of the military, I would say it's very important that as they start to transition, to start looking for land, if farming and ranching is something they want to do, because the price of land is going up. And so it's hard to get in if you have not already made that plan.
Yeah, you're exactly right. If first of all, if you don't actually have a plan, and then two, to get into agriculture, you just can't wake up in the morning and say, I want to jump in, unless you're a multimillionaire or something. Most veterans are not, but most veterans are also outstanding planners. So I'm convinced that a conversation like this, you and I, as veterans, can encourage others. And what I'm understanding is over 300,000 veterans that are farming right now in the United States. Now, all of those veterans are not like you and I, who just recently got out of the military in the last 5 to 10 years. Some of them were veterans that came back from different wars before us. My understanding, the average age of a farmer now is 59 years old. What concerns me, that Sergeant Major, is just what you said. It's hard to get into farming because the inputs are high, land prices are high. But what I will say is this: as a veteran, I think I speak for you too, we like doing things that are actually hard. It gives us purpose. And I think so many of our veterans need purpose so that they actually can get up in the morning and say, okay, I got something to do. Let me just ask you this, Sergeant Major. Where do you see yourself going with your farm? Do you want to grow into like 100 head, or what is your overall plans?
Yeah, my major goal is going to probably about no more than 75, because I want to do a specialty crop. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm crossbreeding some of my angus with Wagyu. So I want to do like a farm to table production, not only for seed stock and cow calf production with my pedigree herd, but also want to use some commercial cattle where I'm doing AI to crossbreed with Wagyu to order some high quality beef to our community and to the nation. And like listening to your show last week, the American Ranching Alliance is giving me great information and great ideas. So that's why it's good to be on your show, because I learn a lot as a farmer and a rancher.
Well, I appreciate that. And that's what this show is all about. Voices from the Dirt Road is about sharing real information that other farmers, veterans, and others actually use. So I'm glad to see that you actually saw last week's show. I'm glad that individual is reaching out and sharing information, because when you start talking about trying to go from farm to the table, it's easy to say. It's another thing to try to do it and then scale it up. Okay, I don't want to go too far in the weeds, but can you tell the people what part of the country that you're in? And when you say your community, I know you say you're trying to feed the entire United States, but you got to start small. So kind of give them an idea what part of the country, and if they want to reach out to you.
I'm in Mississippi, a little small town on a dirt road called Liberty, Mississippi, and surrounding areas, Macomb, Jackson, not far from the Louisiana line where I can hit Baton Rouge and New Orleans. I've already started to share my meat just for samples to get people interested, and they're looking to buy size and whole beef cattle. So I'm looking to scale up, but like I said, you have to start local and build your way up, scale your way up.
Yeah, Sergeant Major, and I know for our audience, your audience keeps hearing me saying Sergeant Major. That is habit. Sergeant Major or Jerome was the guy who I'll just say it plain. It was Sergeant Major and the rest of the team are the ones that made me look so good that senior leaders in the military said, Shawn, we're going to make you a general officer. So when you and I were deployed, I was Colonel Harris. And if things would have went sideways in Liberia, I probably still would have been Colonel Harris. So Jerome, I want to say thank you to that. But on top of all of that, Jerome, is what you just said there is so important to farmers, but also important to veterans, is start small, make sure you have your systems in place so that when you finally get out there and get it going, you actually can sustain it. I like what you said, that right now you're giving out samples of meat. That means that you're building your customer base. And by building your customer base, when you actually start going going farm to table meat, then now you will have a customer base that says, hey, Jerome, I want to buy half a cow, a quarter of a cow every year. So now you have 10, 12, 15, 30, 40, 50 people that comes back to you year after year, and you know exactly how many cows that you need to have to actually meet that need.
That's correct. And one thing I'd say, Shawn, that is very important when you're building your plan, like I said, start small. Start small and then get registered with the FSA office to make sure you have your farm registered so they are tracking what you're doing so you're available for you have the availabilities to put in for grants and loans to grow as you go. So it's very important that you make that face to face with your USDA agent in your local community so you are prepared to get some of the support you need in your local community.
Yeah. So just what we were just talking about today earlier in the show of I was pushing on our farmers saying, don't wait to the last minute. You go up there to the FSA office, you go up there to the NRCS office, because in some of our small towns, maybe the same way like you down where you at, those offices is just the same building. You just go to the left or you go to the right. It is important that you know your point of contact personally, so that when things are, and having your farm registered, so that when things are coming down the pipeline, if it fits your farm and you want to do it, at least you're already in the system. So that's very good information. And let me just ask you this: what if you was passing out advice to young veterans that are coming out of the military today? What are the two or three golden nuggets that you would give them specifically? I want to go even specifically on this one, because when I look at the data on veterans, and I think I got a banner that kind of talks about how many veterans are actually in farming, but then how many minority veterans. So as you see there on the screen, 15% of all farms out here in the United States at least have one veteran that currently served in the military. So 15%. One of the things I also want to make sure that we point out, and I get to my question to you in a second, Jerome, is when we look at minority farms, when we look at small farms, or whatever you want to call it, when it looks at African-American farmers like you and I, we make up 9% of the overall farming population. But we also make up 18% of the black farmers actually have served in the military. I think that is very significant, that when people are getting out the military and they trying to think about farming, especially as a veteran, they should be able to find a mentor that can help them navigate this thing. So can you speak to that in a little bit, or give them some golden nuggets as they transition out of the military of what the one or two things they need to be doing to be a successful farmer, cattle farmer, whatever type farmer they want to be?
Like you said, Shawn, if you had never been in the farming, like I said, you and I both grew up on farms, but if you haven't grew up on a farm, first do your research. Do your research and find out exactly what you want to do, because you want to do one thing great, and then the other couple of things you can add on as you go. And finding that mentor, someone that's been in the business that can help you and show you how to go, because mistakes cost money. Mistakes cost money. When you're starting out early, you want to minimize your mistakes so you can continue to grow in your mission. And like I said, you got to have determination, because it's hard work. So you have to have your mindset. If this is something I want to do, and just like in the military, it's a mission. You start at plan A and you phase it in where you want to be in your 3 to 5 year plan, and you just work your plan. Like in a successful mission, you have to plan it and be able to visualize it and see it. But like I said, a mentor is a great person to have, and I'm glad to say that you were my mentor in helping me refocus my plan and put it in place.
Well, I tell you, Sergeant Major, I think you're confused. I consider you my mentor because I did some more years after you got out, but I was watching what you're doing, and I say, well, damn, it worked. So with that, it's one thing to put something on a piece of paper. It always looks good on paper. But it's another thing to say, wait a minute, it's actually working. So I want to thank you for taking the plan, going out, doing it, and it motivated me on my way out to say, okay, it's working. I'm going to do it. The other thing I just want to say to our fellow veterans is this. As you transition out of the military, and you say you want to get into agriculture, Jerome and I are on the cattle side of it, and we have acres and acres of land to make it work. However, one of the things that I noticed when I was doing my transition, I could have went into some programs that they have for veterans. I think it's called veterans to farmers, or whatever it was called. But inside of those programs, you could go to California and they would teach you how to grow vegetables in a warehouse. So don't put yourself in a situation where you just laser focused that I got to have 50, 60, 200 acres of land, where versus you may actually be a farmer that produces vegetables for your community in a major city like Atlanta or wherever. So just kind of think through that. And then on the last thing I would actually say to our veterans is this. And we have a video. We don't have it today, but I've seen it in other places. And if my team could find it, if you can't, that's fine. But I love this video where they actually show the farmer is on his tractor and he's picking peanuts. And the narrative is this: when others have told you that you shouldn't be farming, you do it anyway. I think when you get into agriculture, you have to think through those things and say it's going to be a lot of naysayers out there. It's going to be a lot of people that's going to say it's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of people going to say you're going to go broke and you're not going to make any money. But guess what? If everybody, Sergeant Major, didn't get in it, then how are we going to feed? I'm not going to say how we're going to feed the world. How the hell are we going to feed ourselves? So somebody has to come out here in the real world and work hard. And I'm the first guy to say that I think our veterans are perfect for the world of agriculture because they have already had 20 years of fighting in wars and different things. So they built for tough times. They built for the stress. And at the same time, they know how to keep getting up every day and going out and working hard. So with that said, I'm not sure that could my team, can somebody put it in the notes? Could y'all find that video or not? If not, that's okay. Don't sweat it. We don't want any gremlins this morning. But Sergeant Major, I just want to let you know I hadn't said it all show. I think I said it in the very beginning that it was like 200-300 people watching. Right now, Sergeant Major, you almost got, matter of fact, you got 1,200 people watching you right now, Sergeant Major. And I just want to let you know, thank you, because people don't come to this show to see. They come to this show based on who we actually has as the guests. So again, I want to thank you for your service. I want to thank you for your leadership when you was in the military. I also want to thank you for your support you gave me as we were in Liberia, the support you gave me prior to us going to Liberia. And I also want to thank you for your leadership when we were picking the individuals to go on that team with us, because I'll go to my grave saying that was one of the best teams that I ever had the opportunity to lead, because each one of those people were experts in their area. And now when we look back at Liberia, or at least the military side of the house, they are doing great things based on our team and the teams that went before us. And it's one of the few areas that we can look back, and at least I can look back and say, hey, what we did is actually working, and I'm proud of that. So, Sergeant Major, I want to I know people saying, well, that Shawn Harris really likes Sergeant Major, but that is the truth, is that you were that individual that supported me when I had the uniform on, and you were that individual that as I was transitioning out and people were asking me, what do I want to do? Because you were already out there doing it, I raised my hand in the transitional class and said, you know what, guys, I just want to be a cattle farmer. And believe me, when I raised my hand and said that, it was several people in the room said, are you crazy? What are you doing? You're supposed to stay in DC and fly all over the world and do other things. No, I was supposed to come back here to Georgia and finally get a chance to do my dream, which was being a cattle farmer and have something that my grandkids can actually say, hey, grandpa stood up and did something for the country and got something out there. So with that, Jerome, is anything else you want to say this morning to our audience?
All thing I want to say, Shawn, is to the people of Georgia that while over in Liberia, you said we took care of you, but it was easy to do because one thing I said about Shawn Harris is that he listens. He listens to the advice and he listens to the people that are around him. And I know you'll do a lot of different things going on. You're in the election period now. And what I would say is that, hey, Shawn Harris listens and he acts on what the people are saying. So, hey, Shawn, if I was in Georgia, like I say, as a veteran, you would have my vote.
Hey, Jerome, thanks. Appreciate it, man. Hey, and everybody out there, thank y'all guys for listening. Right now, we roughly got 1,247, and the number keeps going up and up. Somebody says, good morning from Calhoun, Georgia. I see you. So I just want to say hi to everybody. I want to say thank you to everybody. And the other thing I want to say is this. Make sure that as soon as we get off this thing and 9 o'clock gets here, call the FSA office, call the NRCS office, go up there, get an appointment, and go up and sit down and make sure that you got your paperwork together, because next Friday on the 19th, I think by 5 o'clock, you got to have everything in if you plan to get any of these benefits that the Secretary of Agriculture just pushed out. So don't be the person that missed out because you were doing something that you probably shouldn't have been doing. So with that, hey guys, let's have a great day. If you see me out and about, stop me and say hi. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Oh,